Hello everybody, welcome back to the channel, and if you're new here, we talk about all things fandom on this channel, and we talk about it all in a positive way. And if that's something that appeals to you, you've come to the right place. And we are so happy you stopped by today, because today we're going to be talking about a rumor that is going around that, if it's true, changes everything. But I'm going to give you my thoughts on this rumor and why it may not be what you think. So let's jump right into it. Alright, so after I did last night's video, I was bombarded by a new rumor. And we have to talk about it because this rumor is everywhere. Now, the thing about this rumor is that it's from a source that in the past has been a little less than reliable. And we're going to get into that. I'm going to be positive about this, and I'm going to treat this as though it is a rumor, because when I break down why I think it's not true, that's my reasoning. But I am going to address it, and I am going to talk to you guys about it. And we're going to talk about it in our usual positive manner, because that's what we do on this channel. We talk about all the things that we love in a positive way, and sometimes things like this come out and you have to address them even though they're not 1,000% positive. But we'll get into why I think this is not true after I kind of give you the update on what's been going on. So, according to Cosmic Book News, James Gunn out at DC with Warner Brothers Cell exclusive by Matt McGloin. And we have to talk about Matt McGloin because Matt McGloin is one of those people that he does all his own work. I honestly haven't seen anybody else on his staff. Whenever I see articles from this pop up on Facebook, and that's where this comes from, it's a Facebook article that keeps popping up everywhere, and more YouTubers are talking about it. And Matt McGloin is the only person I ever see writing for this little online magazine. Now, his article goes on to say, with Superman reportedly bombing financially, and with Peacemaker Season 2 flopping with fans, I reached out to my insiders about the state of the DCU under James Gunn. The short of it is that James Gunn will be out as head of DCU with the WB Cell. I am told if David Ellison of Skydance Paramount buys WBD, that Mike DeLuca will be in charge of DC and do a completely new start. Alright, so this is basically it. This is why I don't think the rumor's true. Because if you honestly look at the DC property, we had it under Snyder and all of those people, and it pretty much got rebooted. They rebooted it with James Gunn, and that's only been a couple years ago. Now, typically, if you keep rebooting something, people are going to lose interest. People already are split as to whether James Gunn's version of events is better or worse than Snyder's. And it doesn't matter what side of the fence you're on. I personally like them both. I think they're both great. More Superman, more comic book movies, always a good thing as far as I'm concerned. But here's the deal with this. If you take this whole thing and you sell that property off to somebody, and then they turn around and they fire the person that just started a new franchise, that's going to ruin that franchise for a long time. From a business perspective, this is the worst possible thing that you could ever do. A good businessman would go, we're not immediately starting this property back up. Because a good businessman would know that as much as the Snyderverse had its fans, and as much as the James Gunn verse has its fans, you have a break in the fandom. And if you put something new in, one or both of those sides could turn against you. So I don't see the logic in them doing this. And a business oriented person is not going to see the logic in doing that. You take the property because it's going to get you money. And maybe, just maybe, you hire someone to work with him, or you hire someone to be a creative guide along the way, or anything like that. So that's why I kind of have to take this rumor with a bit of a grain of salt. He goes on to say that Gunn recently said he's doing whatever he wants with DC. That sounded odd to me, as if you're building a new universe, you would want it to be successful with the fans. James Gunn actually didn't say this. James Gunn has said in the past that he is in control with him and Peter Safran, and that they get final say on what comes out. That doesn't mean that they don't actually communicate and talk with other creators and other things. They actually are smart that way, where they are addressing other things. We are in a scenario right now that's kind of weird, where we have had, for whatever reason, 3 things that have come out that have all been James Gunn-esque properties. They've all been him. So here's the logic behind that. He was assigned to be the head of the studio along with Peter Safran. Now, Peter Safran heads up the business side of events, and James Gunn heads up the creative. Now, you can't just jump into a new place and go, hey, I need scripts right now, because they didn't want him to do that. They wanted the properties to start right there. They wanted these properties to get started, because they knew that if they waited too long, they weren't going to have the same opportunities to reboot everything the way they should. So what they did was they said, hey, do you have ideas? Remember when you were going to write that Superman script for us? Why don't you do that? So now you have a situation where James Gunn wrote the Superman script. But while he was working on Suicide Squad and all that, he had some other ideas. And his other ideas were to bring us Creature Commandos. Creature Commandos came out. He was already doing Peacemaker when the DCU was given to him, so he could be the co-head, rather, of the studio. And so that's not a shock. Peacemaker Season 2 is not a shock. So we're just in this weird vibe where we have gotten 3 properties in the DCU that have all been done by him. But the next couple properties are not done by him. We have now where we're starting to get more creators, where we're starting to get more people that are going to be involved in doing their stuff. Now, keep in mind that the Batman movie that's coming out, the first Batman movie that's coming out with Patterson, that's not his. But that was also underway before he became co-head of the studio. That kind of was underway. So I don't think that that's going to change. He's not going to suddenly boot that guy out or say, hey, you can't do this anymore. Besides, that's an Elseworld, and we were promised Elseworld movies. So I think that that's going to remain the same. And then eventually we are going to get other directors and writers doing it. We've already seen it happen. Clayface is done by someone else. Supergirl is going to be done by someone else. We're going to be getting other people that are doing things for the DCU. We're just kind of in this weird place where James Gunn is going to get all the hate. Now, my personal fear with this going forward is that no matter what happens, James Gunn's going to get all the hate. Just the way Kathleen Kennedy gets all the hate for everything wrong with any of the Star Wars movies. If someone don't like the makeup on one of the girls in the movies, all of a sudden, it's Kathleen Kennedy's fault. Kathleen Kennedy didn't do something right. And I feel that that's kind of the go-to, to blame the person that is in charge of the studio. And maybe you should be doing that and maybe you shouldn't. But the bottom line is that they are trying to make something for us that would be fun, that would be good. So we have to take it positively. We have to look at it in a more positive way. You know, where he said that when you're building a new universe, you want it to be successful with the fans. He goes on to say that's not happening, as both Creature Commandos and Peacemaker failed to chart on Nelson. They don't have a big audience. Gunn claims that Peacemaker Season 2 was meant to be a sequel to a Superman movie was not true. Okay, so this is another thing with Matt McGloin. Matt McGloin has, in the past, so many times been so anti any sort of what he deems wokeness in properties that he doesn't actually watch the property, but rather says if he can see any type of messaging in it at all, it's bad. All fiction has messaging in it. Sometimes, yes, do they go overboard? Okay, but that is all up to the viewer. Remember, movies are art, and all art is subjective. TV shows are art, and all art is subjective. It's actually up to us to decide if we like something or not. If we don't like the messaging being brought in something, then we simply don't have to watch. That's kind of the thing. Fandoms need to realize that we are all fans at the end of the day. We all like one thing. In this case, it's the DC. We all want the DC to succeed. We want the DC comic book movie industry to succeed. Then he says, I am of the opinion that Gunn is doing whatever he wants with the DCU because his days are numbered and he knows it. So he's getting himself, all his friends, and his wife's big paychecks before the WBD sells. What that means, when it goes through, James Gunn is out. So I reached out to my Hollywood insiders, and here's what I'm told. Recently, I saw the big news that Mike DeLuca and Pam Abney re-signed with Warner Brothers in Deadline's report. And they basically said that because of the sale of Warner Brothers Discovery, David Ellison is looking to purchase the WBD. So the WBD CEO, David Zaslav, is putting people in place that Ellison wants. That means that Ellison wants DeLuca and Abney in charge of Warner Brothers Films. So on that note, just know, those two people's contracts were up early this year. Thus, they had to sign them before those contracts ran out. And the thing of it is that this is not an unnormal business practice. Typically with studios, they try to give employees of their studio new contracts within 3 months. At least as I understand it, that is Warner Brothers' kind of go-to. So 3 months is when their contract should have been expired, and then now they have a new contract. James Gunn's contract does not expire until November of next year. So that being said, he is going to get that upgrade to be re-signed probably by about September or so, before that 3-month period is there. That's kind of what's going to happen. This other thing is that he says, my opinion. No, there's no room for my opinion if you're claiming that what you're saying is an exclusive. So this kind of is a red flag for me as well. If you're going to say that something's an exclusive, then shouldn't it be an exclusive? A good reporter also knows that you protect your sources. However, you have to at least give some quotes by these sources. Where are these sources telling us actual quotes? What are they actually saying? They've said this is going to happen, or this could happen, or this might happen, but nowhere in this article is it anything completely definitive. Then he goes, you notice that James Gunn has pivoted from his planned Gods and Monsters storyline in what he calls the Superman saga. The Superman family is all Gunn. The Gods and Monsters storyline is likely trashed because Gunn knows he can only get a select amount of movies out before the sale. I've also been told the reason why DCU projects have been stalling is because of Gunn's interference. The filmmakers want their own vision, not Gunn's. I'm told that most visionary directors in Hollywood are staying away from DC, Marvel, and Star Wars because life is too short. Everyone is looking for original properties. I am told Zack Snyder is happy doing his original stuff, but would only return for one last movie, an adaptation of The Dark Knight Returns. He is told. But the bottom line is what he's being told here. If that's what he's being told, that's not true. He'll say, you noticed that James Gunn has pivoted from Gods and Monsters. No, he hasn't. That Gods and Monsters stuff that we're seeing on screen, that is legitimately still there. The whole thing that we're seeing is Gods and Monsters. Do you give away everything all at once when, you know that it's going to be suspenseful in the end? But that's not all. He goes on to say, I'm told that if Warner Brothers gets sold, that whoever buys it wants a completely new start. While it has been reported that Skydance is eyeing to purchase WDB, I'm told that Universal Comcast is still in the mix. I'm going to stop there. This is all still public knowledge. We've already known that these people are in line to buy this company. That we've known that this is kind of the thing. The other thing that he says in this is whoever buys it wants to start fresh. Okay, well, yeah, that means another entire reboot of the DCU? And you called it the DCEU before. You called it the DCU this time. What do we call it next time? Oh, and that's another thing. If you're thinking about it logically, what he said is they would like to start fresh. This means that his idea about Zack Snyder coming back, that will never happen. In fact, that means that the Snyderverse is dead forever. That means that the Gunnverse is dead forever. They're never bringing them back if they do that. And I don't think that's a smart business decision. James Gunn is actually friends with Zack Snyder. We have more of a chance under James Gunn to get the Snyderverse back than we ever would with anybody else. But that is where I am going to leave it off to you guys. I want to know what you guys think about this. Again, remember to be nice in the comments. We're all just fans talking about the things we love, and I support both sides of this. I support the fact that people like Zack Snyder. I support the fact that people like James Gunn. I don't want to see our two sides fighting because we're all fans of DC. So remember to keep it civil and nice. And let me know what you think about the possibility of them just uprooting everything and starting over. Do you think that's a good idea, bad idea? Whatever you're thinking, I want to hear from you. So make sure you leave me that comment in the comment box below. Make sure you're sharing this video with all of your friends so they can be a part of this crazy conversation. And believe me, this is a crazy conversation. And then, friends, if you like positive content on your channel, and I know this video kind of wasn't all that positive at times, but if you like positive content on your channel, you're going to want to hit that like button to let the algorithm know that you like channels that talk positive about your fandom. And then you're going to want to hit that subscribe button if you like our channel personally. And right next to it is the notification bell so you never miss a single video we do. Because friends, at the end of the day, I know it and you know it. Fandom is family.